Okay, so hi. All right, so here's our first class of the 3-week course, and we're going to start on the ground today. This 3-week course is focused on strength and flexibility, which can be imbued through the practice of yoga and movement. So if you have a mat, set it up and we'll start. And if you have a bolster, that would be great. But if you don't, maybe a blanket, rolling up a blanket would work. But we'll start off without using the bolster. We'll start on our backs. So laying down on the floor and feeling that pelvic tilt so that you can lengthen the back. And it's fine if there's a little bit of a space there between the floor and your middle back, but you do want to feel like your pelvis is tipped, the tail is long. And we'll just start with a little bit of breath work here. So placing your hands on your belly, like right underneath your ribs. And we'll take a few big deep breaths and imagine your hands are your lungs. And so when you breathe in, your hands are drawing that breath down deep into the lungs, into the belly. And then a sigh with the mouth closed on that exhale. Sighing is really such a powerful tool for our nervous system to regulate our nervous system. It affects the vagal nerve, and this enhances the parasympathetic nervous system. So another deep breath in. Sighing. Now bounce a little bit. That's just fine. Be curious about everything that goes on. Without judgment or opinion, there is no right or wrong. Let's take another deep breath in. Feel your shoulders relax. And the back of your head is touching. You could lift up your head and drop it down again and create a little more length in the back of the neck and chin towards the chest a little bit. We'll bring our left knee in and extend our right leg out, allowing that lower back to open. And feeling how it's a slow change. We pull that knee in and there's one thing. And then if we breathe into it, we can witness that small shift, that communication and conversation that our intentions are having with our body. And we'll take that hand behind the leg, and you can start at your knee and start sliding up the leg towards your ankle. And the pelvis is square, shoulders are relaxed, and the breath is smooth, steady, even, and deep. Roll that ankle and feel the changes and the shifts in your leg and your calf, other direction if you haven't gone already. Yeah. Beautiful. And then we'll just let that leg out and shake it out a little bit. Let's bring that left knee in. You can bend that let's bring the right knee in and extend that left leg. And again, sighing. I'm a professional sigh teacher. Just bringing in that sigh and helping, giving space, releasing, letting go of those tensions that we can just subtly gather throughout our days and our life. Taking the hand behind the knee and sliding that up. It can stay bent. It's just we're meeting our own limit. We're meeting the soft inner edge and getting to know that inner edge. Roll that ankle and then roll it the other direction. And then hugging both knees in. Start moving that spine a little bit. So rocking side to side a little bit, settling that back into the ground. And then I want you to keep your knees together, keep your elbows close to your sides. And as you inhale, you're just going to let the knees move away. And so I'm kind of set up in a there's a little bit of tension. My arms are getting pulled on by the weight of my legs. Not the force of my legs, but just the weight of my legs. And then I'm going to exhale and draw the knees in towards my chest. Inhaling, the knees move away. And exhaling. So I'm talking about the knees, but let's pay attention to what's deeper within, the source of the movement, or the hub is right at that back where your tailbone moves towards the ground, and then it rolls up towards the middle of your spine. And this is great for digestion too. So if you ever have if you're bloated or if you have any gas, this is actually called wind releasing pose. So if you fart, that's fine too. What's encouraged is that wind release, movement, and digestion. And then we'll take our knees in and we'll wrap your arm around. So you try to keep the knees close, but it might be that they're a little further away. So if so, take your left hand onto your right knee and then bring the knees over to the left and then push into the back of the head so you can scoot your shoulders over to the left too, and add a little bit more space for that right shoulder to land on the ground. This is where it might be helpful if you need a blanket or a bolster or something underneath that shoulder to support, because you want to be in a place where you can relax and release. You don't want to be in a place of tension. And then we use that breath, we use that inner working to assist us, taking a big, deep breath in. And then as we exhale, just allowing that spinal twist to be felt and feel into it. Soften the face by opening up the mouth, sticking out the tongue, and relaxing that jaw. Use your left elbow to bring these knees up. Take your arm around or hold on to that left knee and bring your knees over to the right. Push into your back of your head and scoot your shoulders over to the right. And relax the left arm. You can adjust your head so that you're looking up, or maybe it feels better looking to the right a little bit or to the left. And, I say this a lot, but you are the true teacher. It's your direct experience that is what you want to go on, what you want to respond to, not with what's being said to you outside, from the outside. So let's take a breath or two here, deep breath in, and use that power of your visualization to soften and release and expand. You might feel like a body of water, or an ocean wave coming to the shore and soaking into the sand. Or perhaps you connect more with, watching the clouds roll and change. Change is what we're paying attention to, and how we need to adjust constantly. There's never any true stillness in living. It's a constant little adjustment around a center. And then we'll push with our right elbow to bring those knees up and place the feet right underneath your sit bones. We'll bend the elbows and just point the fingers up into the sky. Push into the back of your head and touch shoulder blades underneath you. So you have stability in the upper shoulder girdle. And then we're going to exhale or inhale and bring your hips up to your fingertips or towards your fingertips. Lengthen from shoulder to knee and push strongly into the soles of the feet while lifting the arches of your feet. So think about pressing into the pinky toe, the corners of your heels, and that big toe, but you don't want to sink into the big toe. But at the same time, there's always these counters. So you're pushing into the pinky toe, but you're pushing the knees towards each other. You don't want them to touch. It's more like if you had a block between your knees and you were squeezing it. And then just let that chest open, working with the thoracic spine. We're going to come back to the thoracic spine, the next movement too. So we're kind of moving up that spine from tail to crown. So rolling that back down. And then let's just do 10 pumps. So we want to strengthen that contract and release is how we strengthen the muscles and activate those muscles. So focus in on your glutes, engaging to lift. Contraction of the glutes opens up the front, and then lowering down and lift, squeezing, and then going to that place where you feel that release. And then we bring it up again and down. And we'll do this 6 more times. So feeling that peak and that valley, using your breath as you inhale or exhale and bring the hips up, and then the opposite breath to come down. And I think we've got 2 more. Let's do 2 more. Pressing it up, squeezing and down. And again, lifting it up. And deep breath in, long exhale. We'll hug the knees into the chest and roll onto our side. And this is where it would be helpful to have a bolster or a pillow to put under, or that blanket to put under your head. If you don't have that, you can also use your arm. It would be ideal if you had a pillow. So, right hand comes just along that arm, or you have it under your ear, and the left arm comes out. And we're going to inhale and we're going to open up to the left, and then we're going to exhale and bring that arm back. And the head can roll with that. So we're focusing on the thoracic spine, the upper spine, the spine where our ribs are. And as we get older, there becomes a curve, an opposing curve, and we're countering that. So we want to move it so we don't lose it. And this repetition is really beautiful, not only for the physical movements and warming that spine up, but also it helps us with our breath. We can inhale and exhale. Because the breath is truly the primary focus. We're always working with our breath. It's our survival. And it's also how spirit comes into the body. This is a few more times on this side. Let's do 1 more time. Opening, inhaling, and exhaling. So now let's go to the other side. You can shift. You want your shoulders and your hips to be in alignment, and your knees aren't too close up. They're perpendicular, or even a little bit further away. That left arm comes perpendicular to the spine, and we're going to open. This is what it looks like on the other side. My right shoulder's not getting completely to the ground, but it's feeling that stretch, and then we exhale and close. And you're shifting, the shoulder is the pivot point, or the shoulder girdle is the pivot point. Inhaling and exhaling. Something that's good for the, supportive of the nervous system is when we allow our eyes to soften and track. So you're not staring at your hand, you're actually kind of like gazing beyond your hand, or you can think of it as gazing out and then like a reflection back. But we're following, the eyes are tracking with this arm. A couple more times. Okay, beautiful. And then let's come onto our backs again. And move that bolster away if you have one. And let's do a little bit of core strength while we're laying down on the ground and working with that neck too. So we don't want our neck to do all the work when we're working with our core, We want to feel that belly button drilling down towards the earth. You still can have a little space back there, but the pubic bone and sternum, so the pubic bone and the bottom of that bone that's in the center, they're kind of cinched towards each other. So even when I put my head down, take my ponytail thing out, even when I have my head down, I can feel that there's an engagement here of my core. And you can relax completely, and your butt cheek relaxes, and your legs relax, and then start here, and then your butt responds a little bit. And we're gonna hook our hands at the back of our head and lengthen that spine, and keep your head in line with your elbows. So we're just gonna lift up a tiny bit, and then lower down. So it's like an inch. And we're not trying to do anything super forceful. We're actually just activating and welcoming in the core strength that is just naturally needed so that we move around and can sit upright. Be fluid in the world. And if you feel your neck doing the work, rest that head, let that head release into your hands. Feel the shoulder girdle like it's a hammock. Let's do this 5 more times. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then from here, we can relax for a moment. Just take a big deep breath in. Sigh on that exhale. And then let's roll onto our side. And we'll come up onto our hands and knees. This way so I can talk to you too and see you. So here, let's come up onto our hands and knees, and we're going to lubricate that spine again with the inhale, opening, and then exhale, rounding, and let that cervical spine be involved too. So it's like the tail ripples through the lumbar and the thoracic spine and up to the crown of the head, and then rounding that back. And again, inhaling, moving nice and slow so we can feel all of the points, all of the small, they're these tiny muscles called the multifidus muscles that keep our spine connected and engaged. Sometimes they can get a little bit weak because the bigger muscles take over. So we're visualizing tiny little muscles holding our spine together, and they are doing the same thing our body's doing. They're contracting and expanding. They're contracting on the front of the spine here, and they're contracting on the back of the spine here. A few more times. Make sure that cervical spine is involved. It can be easily forgotten. And then find center. Let's sit back into child's pose, stretching the fingers forward, even crawling them forward, and then placing the hands down and stretching back into the sit bones. Taking a few deep breaths, resting your forehead on the floor, and breathing a few deep, long breaths there. Okay. So let's work with a little bit of strength. We're going to bring our hands up. Strength and flexibility, they work together. But we're going to extend our right leg out and lift that up. And we lift that up by engaging that lower back and the glute. And then the left hand comes out. So we're going to add on to that cat-cow by using our legs. So our arm and leg extend, and then they come together. Extending out and drawing in. Think about when we were on our back, engaging that core. We want to feel that first little instigation. Right. And then here, we'll bring that in, place the hand on the floor, and step that right foot forward so that it's right next to your right hand. And now I'm getting warm, so I'm going to take the sweater off. So with the right foot and the right knee is at a 90-degree angle, our hands right in line. And we can push that knee a little bit into that arm and push the arm a little bit into that knee and widen the collarbones and flatten that back. So just here, you could probably maybe go forward, lunge forward and add more of a hip stretch. But let's work with that structure and the subtle opening of the hip. We don't have to go beyond. I know that you're probably feeling something here. A lot of times in our culture, our culture has trained us to think that more is better, further is better. But taking it slow, noticing the tiny details, that which is deep and source given. Mm-hmm. And then we'll take this back leg and straighten it out. So I'll come back here and straighten that out and add a hip flexor. Strengthening that shoulder girdle. There's weight in the hands and the foot. Try to kind of sense that there's this balance between the weight in the foot and the hands. And the breath, again, primary focus. The breath is what's leading us. And then we'll place that left knee on the ground, step that right leg back, and once again, return to child's pose. This home base, checking in, reminding ourselves of the breath. And then we come back up and we'll do the other side. So lengthening the left leg out, feeling that engagement in the glute. And you still have that little bit of connection between the pubic bone and the sternum. And then that right arm extends. Expand, and then bring that in. Working with balance, finding center, and this cross, doing these crossings with the right arm and the left leg. This activates the connection between our left and right brain. A few more times, pulling that in, extending out. One more time. And then we're going to bring both the knee and elbow in, place that right hand on the floor, and then put that left foot next to that left hand. Push the knee in, walk that foot in and feel that 3 points along one line. And then widen the collarbones and feel that rotation in the hip joint that allows for that lower back to lengthen forward towards the crown of the head. Big, deep breaths. And you might notice the tendency to want to dive into it, but let's just pause here and stabilize the hip opening deep within from the source. And again, those sighs are so helpful. And then we'll turn that back foot and extend. We're not lunging forward with that knee. It's still stacked over that ankle. And now we're strengthening that quadricep, opening that hip flexor, and feeling the strength through our arms. And bringing that right knee down, reaching back, and returning to child's pose. Let's play a little bit with downward dog. It's a great stabilizing pose. It's kind of a neutral pose in the sense that you want to find balance between these things, like a perfect triangle. So straightening those legs and drawing back, and your sit bones rise, your heels root, and the pads of your fingers, think of the pads of your fingers so you're not putting all the weight into the wrists, but you're extending out the hands. And then the head hangs between the biceps. And you want to feel neutral. So if you feel more weight in your shoulders, bend your knees and bring energy back into those legs. If you feel a lot of weight in your legs, then I think bend your legs again so that you can release that, the tightness in the hamstrings. And then we'll inhale and coming forward. Sorry, my shirt's flopping. Coming forwards into plank position. And you can see that you want to bring the hips down so that the butt isn't up in the air. You're finding that plank from crown to heels. And if you feel a little shaking, that's great. That's kind of like activating the muscles, bringing energy and information into the muscles. And then back again into downward facing dog. This is kind of an inversion. Your head is hanging below your heart, blood's rushing to the head. It's good flushing. And then we'll come forward again into plank. Find that stability there. You're still engaging that pubic bone to sternum, collarbones wide, butt's engaged. And then we'll put the knees down. And we'll come around and have a seat. Let me check what time it is. Okay, so let's stay seated today. We're going to do a seated practice. Then we'll open up our legs and bring some space to the inner body here, the inside of the thighs, the soft part of our belly, and our chest. This is where yin rises. Yin energy comes up. Yang energy pours down the back of our body. And it's sort of like our protective shell. It's the back body that protects us. And this is the soft part. So as we get older, our inner thighs can get really tight. They tighten up. So it's important to keep flexible down in our inner thighs and our hips, groin. So lifting up out of the pelvis first. Sometimes you can feel like when you stretch your legs out that you're pulled back, the feet are tight. So you want to practice first arriving here. So when you are, depending on where you are, if you're back, you want to lift up first. If you're already upright, then you can start pivoting forward without reaching. You're not trying to reach with your upper body, but pouring out from the base to the crown. Your hands can be support because we don't want to feel vulnerable. And that moment, if there's too much tension, we feel fear. So you want to feel the right support so that you can expand. And we witness change. So breathing deep, long exhales. And change isn't any collapse. We want to just feel the change come slowly from the source, from that hip rotation, from that lower back opening. So 5 to 10 breaths in each pose is a beginning. We can spend much longer in these poses. And you see how my back is rounded a little bit. So I've done a little sacrificing there to get my elbows down. So I'm going to return to a long spine. And of course, you can be gracious with yourself. There's a little give and take always. And then notice if your toes are starting to curl in. You want to externally rotate those legs to keep that foundation. This is where we began. We're keeping that foundation as we come forward. Walking our hands over to the left. So maybe the left hand goes to the outside of that left leg. And keep this right hip well grounded. So you might even take your hand, hold on to that. And open up that right psoas connects our legs to our torso so that we can walk. Maybe reaching over for the foot, the ankle. And always remembering that the breath is the source. It's our main focus in the yoga practice. Let's walk over to the other side and go nice and slow, like a clock ticking, so that you can feel that point of where the time is. And then breathe there. And then notice if the foundation has slipped a little bit. Connect with that. Reestablish that. Maybe extending that left side body. Deep, long, smooth breath. And they say the quality of the breath defines the quality of the moment. So, if things are chaotic and you're hyperventilating, the quality of the moment's going to be affected. If you can keep a steady, smooth, even, deep breath, then the quality will be steady, smooth, even, and deep. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Big, deep inhale. Long exhale. And another inhale. And inhale, come on up. Pull the knees in, place the feet together, and work on a Baddha Konasana. So you have your feet together and you open them up like a book, and you can lift up out of that pelvis and then start folding forward. And again, thinking of that length in the spine, the front body and the back body are sort of working in tandem. Allowing the inner knees or the knees to relax and the inner thighs to soften and relax. Notice what's happening with your tongue. Tongue is very important aspect of our health and well-being that we might not pay too much attention to. But if you think about it, it's this muscle that's connected down really deep inside of us, and it connects to the heart. In Chinese medicine, the tongue is the sprout of the heart. So we can take a big deep breath here, and we're going to stretch our tongue out and open up the mouth and look up towards your third eye, towards your forehead. And then let the tongue relax. And again, deep breath in and stick that tongue out, lion's breath. And again, inhale. One last time, big deep breath in, stretch that tongue out. And then bring it in and come on up to sitting. We're going to work a little bit with that tongue here. So just cross your legs and sitting upright. The tip of the tongue, we stretch it out. We can also stretch it by reaching it back along the ridge of our soft palate in towards the back of our throat. And in the yoga practice, we have the pelvic floor, the diaphragm, and it's like 3 diaphragms. We have the pelvic floor diaphragm, the breathing diaphragm, and then the soft palate is a diaphragm. It can rise up. And so we want to think of that length and that opening. The soft palate is like a cathedral, the dome in a cathedral. We're going to take the tip of our tongue and just run it along the ridge line back. Eyes can be closed, and just notice the sensation without judging it or deciding if it's good or bad, but just feeling the stretch, the focus, some awareness of the breath. And then we're going to run that tongue back down towards the tip front of our mouth and back up towards the soft palate. So as you exhale, let it run towards the tip of the mouth or the top 2 front teeth. And then as you inhale, draw it up towards the back of your throat. This is good for chicken neck too. or not chicken neck, not have chicken neck. Again, and one last time. Just open the eyes and taking your left hand up over and open up the side body. Palm faces the earth. So there's this, it's actually an external rotation. So you externally rotate your arm and then bring it over. This, if we brought that external rotation into our torso, it would turn us this direction. So we're going to rotate our torso in the opposite direction and find middle. As we inhale, open up and point the palm towards the sky. It's externally rotated as it comes down. And then bring it up. We're going to do that 4 more times. Rotating in that shoulder joint. And opening all of the space between the ribs, side body, and into the hip. One more time. Inhale, come on up. And palm comes to the ground. Lift, external rotation. So palm is facing up. Arc over. Feel how that might make you want to go forward. But rotate the heart towards the sky. Look up towards the sky. Keep your chin pointed towards the heart. Big, deep breaths. And notice if you've lifted that left sit bone up, drop, let the weight of this opposing leg be supportive, helpful. And then we're going to rotate the heart even more and let that arm open. It stays externally rotated. Let your breath lead you. Feel the fullness of your inhale and the completeness of your exhale. One more time. And then inhale, come on up. Let's roll the shoulders a few times. One direction. And then up in the other direction. All right, we're going to finish with just a settling of the mind. Let's bring a little bit more energy upwards with a little bit of breath work, and then we'll let's conclude with a short meditation. So we're going to inhale and bring our arms up, and then cross our fingers and point the fingertips up into the sky. Kapalabhati, or breath of fire, they're actually 2 different things. So, but they feel similar. Where you take the breath, and so bring your hands down. So when you exhale, you feel that diaphragm right here, this belly, go in. So when you exhale, you go. Inhale fills the body. Exhale pushes it out. So it's a little forceful. We're encouraging energy to rise. So feel free to just, have your hand here. You don't have to have your arms up. But if you feel in tune with this practice, and you bring your arms up like this. You can keep them on your belly if you like. You take a big, deep breath in. We exhale a little bit and we stay at that level. You stay at that height of fullness in the breath. Let's exhale, bring the hands down. So what I mean by the breathing, staying at that 2/3 full, is that you're not going breath out, breath out, breath out, breath out, breath out to emptiness. You're keeping it, you're inhaling and exhaling at the same rate so that you stay 2/3 full. So let's do that again. Inhale, arms come up, shoulders stay relaxed, cross all the fingers, point the pointer fingers up. Let the crown of the head be in connection with that pointing up. Take a deep breath in. Exhale some of it, and then begin. Exhale, let your arms settle down. Feel that grounding. When we bring energy up, it's like we're activating it and gathering it, and collecting it, but we always want to end with grounding it down. So take your hands and place them towards the earth. We're going to inhale and gather everything from the earth, all that diversity, all that life force. Turn the hands over, gather everything from the sky, that great mystery. And then exhale, imagine all of this energy pouring down and grounding into your pelvis, into your legs, into the earth. That again, palms face the earth, inhale. Turn the hands over and gather. You can imagine a beautiful ball of golden light just soaking into your body. And anything of no use gets returned to be composted by the earth. One more time, inhale. And exhale as your hands come down, close your eyes and bring the hands down and rest them on your knees. Feel the elbows heavy so that they can relax the shoulders. Soften the chin towards the heart and lengthen the back of the neck. And you might feel a sense of support if you just lean back a little bit into the space behind you. Just a touch, we tend to lean forward. So just finding that point of balance. Hopefully you feel like your hips are open after our gentle practice. You can settle more into your seat. Placing the tip of the tongue at the front of the palate behind the top two front teeth. Relaxing the root of the tongue. And following the breath in to the nostrils, into the body, into the belly. And then following it out again, out of the belly, out of the chest, out of the nostrils. Each breath is an opportunity to arrive again. So even if by the end of the exhale you find yourself distracted, if you find yourself, you are found. And you can place your attention upon the breath, breathing in and exhaling out. There is only this breath right here in this moment, breathing in and breathing out. There's nothing to do, nothing to accomplish. The only priority is to place your attention upon the breath. Three more breaths together, inhaling and just feeling appreciation for yourself and your attention to this beautiful vessel that spirit moves through. Breathing in and giving thanks to our connection and our community and all who we learn from. And giving thanks to these teachings. Bring your hands to your heart. May you be safe and free from harm. May you be at ease in the mind and comfortable in the body, living in peace. May all of our thoughts, words, and actions